Hey everybody, Coach Stacy Lynn here. So today I have a situation I gotta talk to you about. Have you ever had somebody kind of dismiss you? Or how about this? How about you had an appointment with them and then they called at the last minute and they apologized, but they really didn't apologize for how it impacted you? Today, I want to talk about that because that's one of the biggest issues that I've dealt with when I've worked with clients. And so I just want to share with you something that just happened today. So last night, I was not feeling very good. I ended up eating something, I don't know what it was, but it just did not sit well with me at all. So I was pretty much up, awake, most of the night, not feeling well. And I had appointments today, and I still have another one after I record this. But I had appointments today, and I ended up getting up, putting myself together, as you can see, getting ready for this appointment because it's important to me to be there. And then when I show up, literally the time this is supposed to happen, I get a phone call from the person I was supposed to see. And this has been a situation that I have worked with this guy on. And he was apologetic, almost giggled, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the road. I have to go somewhere, and I totally forgot to tell you." And he asked how I was and then prayed for me. And I got off the phone and just felt really sad and still a little bit sick. So why do I share this? I share it because a lot of you who are survivors of abuse have experienced similar things. You've experienced somebody disrespecting your time and dismissing your feelings, whether or not they're really they come off that way and they are meaning to do it. It's really what they're doing. And so the question is, how do you deal with it when people continually treat you like your time, your feelings, and all that doesn't matter? Right? And I know this guy, I don't think he meant to do this to irritate me, and he's actually improved quite a bit. But the issue is still there. And I have to bring it up because I see it so much with people. A lot of times people will ask, and I've seen this actually, I've seen this in Reddit, and I've seen this in other places where people will hire a coach or a therapist, and they will get all bent out of shape because, number one, the therapist charges so much, and number two, they have a late fee or a cancellation fee, and they don't think that that person should have it. And what a lot of people who don't understand this field don't understand is that if you don't cancel an appointment ahead of time, that means I can't fill the spot ahead of time and make up for the income that I just lost. So it's like, that's why doctors will say, give me 24 hours notice so they can have a client call and fill that thing. When you are in private practice, like I am, this spot is very valuable. And have somebody call at the last minute and cancel and not even think a thing of it, like, how did this impact me? Like, that's impacting stuff, especially when you're being generous and you're not even charging them, which is the case in this case, actually. So I want you to consider this in your own life because I know that it happens. And I have to bring it up because it's an issue that a lot of people who are the client don't understand when they're reaching out to somebody in private practice. So if you're in private practice as a coach or as a therapist, you know, that time is money and you have to block out that amount of time, right? And so you have these boundaries set up as a business. It's never anything personal. It's a business, right? It's a business, just like anything. But there is an attitude in our culture today that just because you're a people helper, you can't have those boundaries. And here's the other thing. I don't take insurance, but a lot of therapists do. And so even if a client misses and it's a client that takes insurance, there might be, I don't know, there might be where a therapist can do a code and get charged for that session or whatever, but probably not. So again, it goes back to teaching people how to treat you right. And this doesn't just have to do with appointments, it has to do with common courtesy in general. So I've worked with some clients who it is genuinely an organization issue. Oh, I can't get there on time. Okay, so then you teach that client to notify them that you're going to be late, right? There's no reason today why anybody can't text you or give you a quick call to let you know that they're going to be late. There's zero reason. And I was working with a client, same thing. And when I decided to set a boundary with this person about being late, and saying, okay, you're going to charge me a fee, I'm going to charge you a fee for being late, they just ran. They're like, no. Because you know what that tells me? It tells me that they didn't want to work on their behavior, and they honestly didn't care about how it impacted me as the person trying to help them. And those type of people, they go through life and they're in their own world, and they don't have a idea of how their behavior impacts other people. Sometimes it's a result of trauma, but that's no excuse for how you treat other people, especially as Christians, right? I mean, let's just get real. As Christians, you're supposed to represent Christ and act like Christ would. And Jesus would never do that. He would never treat somebody the way that these people tend to treat you. And here's what I want to tell you, and I don't want to make this too long, but here's what I ultimately want to tell you. What I ultimately want to tell you is that if you have people in your life that do this to you, then you need to teach them. You need to do one of two things. You need to either teach them how this is impacting you and let them know that it's not acceptable, and or you need to get out of that relationship because you deserve to be treated better, right? Now, I'm in the business of helping people and teaching them this isn't acceptable. And if you're going to work with me, then, you have to respect my boundaries, give me some notice, etc., blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, I'm not going to work with you. And I actually had a different client that I had to do that with, and they didn't like it. But I remember many years ago, I had another client who was consistently late. I'll never forget it because they showed up to their appointment. This was actually when I was doing in-person therapy about 20 years ago. I remember this client, they kept showing up for their appointments late. And this one day, I decided they were my last client. And about 15 minutes in, I didn't hear anything. So I decided I was going to take a walk around the block where I worked. And so I went downstairs, walked around the block, went across the street, got some coffee from Starbucks, came back up, and then I decided I was going to work on my paperwork that I had to do. Well, about half hour later, so it was about 15 minutes after that, so it was a total half hour. My client, who was supposed to be there at the top of the hour, showed up at the bottom of the hour, and so I let her in. And then when her 50-minute session was up, I ended it. And she got really, 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 really mad at me. And she goes, well, how come, you're ending the session? And I said, because your time is up. I had you blocked for this time to this time. You were a half hour late. Actually, I would have canceled most people if they had done that. I would have just charged you for the session, not giving you any time. But because you actually showed up, you got the 15 minutes that was left, 15 or 20 minutes that was left. And she got really, really mad at me. But you know what? She was never late again. Because that person learned that if they were going to work with me, I was going to teach them how to respect me. And sometimes people will blame their trauma and they will say, well, I'm this way because blah, blah, blah. And that's where I help them go, well, you know what? The world isn't all about you and how you do things. I'm a person. I have needs, thoughts, and feelings as well. And if you're going to be in a relationship with me, you're going to have to respect me as much as you want me to respect you. I bring this up because we live in a culture today where it's a victim culture. And part of the problem with the victim culture is that everybody focuses on the victim, who actually ends up being the perpetrator. And then when the actual victims of those perpetrators speak up, then all of a sudden they're the bad guy. You see the circle, right? So you have a person who's been traumatized or whatever. They think the world revolves around them, so then they treat everybody else badly. When you actually stand up to these people and hold them accountable for their behavior, then they get all bent out of shape and act like a big baby because you're holding them accountable for how they're treating you. And yet they demand to be treated well. And it's like, okay, I think the Bible says to treat one another the way that you want to be treated, right? And yet, that's not what our culture teaches. It's not what it even celebrates. So today I just want to tell you that if you're somebody who people treat like you are the gum on the bottom of their shoe, and that's a nice way of saying it, then I want you to know that you have the right and you have the power to say, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this with you anymore. This is what I need. And if you can't respect what I need, then we're going to have to change this relationship. Either there's not going to be one, or we're going to have some mutual understanding about how I'm going to be treated versus how you're going to be treated. Because everybody deserves respect, and I've had some really, really good friends. I actually still do. I have two very dear friends that I know would do anything for me. They would never treat me poorly in any way. But there are other people who just seem to think that you have to take the brunt of anything that they want to push at you. And when I put my foot down and say, I don't think so, you can see people getting all ticked off. I'll give you one last example. I had an email list many years ago. I really need to get a new one. But I had this woman, she started interacting with me on my email list. And I felt like it was a little bit of love bombing because I didn't get much feedback on my email list. So all of a sudden, this one person was kind of kissing up to me. So I reached out to them. I developed a relationship with them. And initially, my gut felt really uncomfortable. And at first, I didn't listen to it. I was like, I want to give her a chance, all this. Well, as the relationship developed, what it ended up being was she wanted free coaching from me. And when I eventually told her, no, I'm not going to give you free coaching, she threw a fit and just cussed me out. And then sent me an email, told me that I was literally one of the most insufferable people she had ever met. And yet here I am trying to help her. But when I said, look, every time we were having a conversation, it kept going back to what her issue was. And I finally said, look, if you want me to talk to you about these issues, then you're going to have to set up a coaching appointment and we can talk about it. Right now, I thought we were just talking as friends. I've already told you this numerous times. When I set that boundary, though, she got bent out of shape, sent me the nasty email, and then that was it. I never responded to the email, and I haven't heard from her since because I set a boundary and she didn't like it. And yet, if you are working with somebody who is teachable and they're humble and they can go, you know what, you're right. You don't deserve to be treated that way. And you didn't do anything for me to treat you this way poorly. I'm really sorry. Will you forgive me? Because now I realize how this is impacting you. This is what we have to teach people, and this is how I work as a coach. So I just want you to know that if you're somebody who struggles with this particular dynamic in your relationship and you don't know how to set those boundaries with people, then I want to invite you to set up an appointment with me and let's talk, because I can definitely help you. But you're going to have to get to the place where you can tolerate people who are not going to like what you have to say, because once you can do that, you're going to break that cycle of people treating you poorly. And because you don't deserve to be treated poorly is the bottom line. And it's not wrong for you to set a boundary and say, hey, this relationship should go both ways, and this is what I expect. So I thought I would share that with you today. And I hope, people, that you have a better day and treat people the way that you want to be treated.